Major backflip in Ricciardo drama as F1 future takes another turn. Daniel Ricciardo scoffs at IndyCar move. Now, in response to rumors that he might make an astounding comeback to Red Bull, Daniel Ricciardo has stated that nothing is set in stone for him regarding the upcoming 2023 season. After his contract with McLaren was cancelled, the Australian driver stated earlier this month that he will take a break from Formula One next year. However, recent rumors have been circulating that he could be a reserve driver for Red Bull or even Mercedes. But do these rumors hold any truth to them? Let's take a look at all the need-to-know details. First up, Daniel Ricciardo has been a huge talking point since the upcoming F1 season is closely approaching, with many wondering what the Aussie driver will be doing for the 2023 season. After the US Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo gave possibly the most depressing interview of his career, signaling his career's lowest point at McLaren. On the other hand, Max Verstappen broke the record for most victories in one season, with his 13th victory in 2022, and Red Bull also added the Constructors' Championship to Verstappen's World Championship. But in yet another forgettable race, Ricciardo started 15th on the grid but was performing poorly, dragging his feet at the back of the pack and coming in 16th, only adding to his terrible performance this year and leading many to question, what will the Aussie driver do for the 2023 season? Now, the pit lane reporter for Sky Sports, Ted Kravitz, had a lot to say on this topic, claiming that Daniel Ricciardo, the Australian driver, will join the F1 team Red Bull as a reserve driver in the upcoming season. But shortly after he made this statement, he quickly took it back. Now, after a miserable 2 seasons, the 33-year-old Aussie driver was fired by McLaren, leaving the Perth native without a seat for 2023. Following this news surfacing, Ricciardo said earlier this month that he would not be competing in the 2023 season. He went on to explain that he would take a vacation and possibly return in 2024. However, Kravitz publicly stated that Ricciardo would instead be going back to one of his former teams in 2023, even though it was widely rumored that he will join Mercedes as a reserve driver. Kravitz said at the United States Grand Prix qualifying session, "I've got some fantastic news for Daniel Ricciardo fans." From what he understands, Kravitz explained that Ricciardo might not have a leading driving spot for the upcoming season, but he has already secured a reserve driver spot. In response to questions about which team Ricciardo will join, Kravitz said, "We expected Mercedes because they now have a vacancy given that Nick de Vries, their backup driver, is departing for AlphaTauri." However, he continued explaining that he now knows it is not Mercedes, and that instead, Red Bull appears to be the only team with a backup driver spot available for every race. However, Kravitz has recently and abruptly changed his position, asserting that the pendulum has decisively swung back in Mercedes' favor. "You know, I said he seems to be closing in on a reserve driver job with one of the two big teams. I thought it was more likely to be Red Bull than Mercedes," he explained. But he continued, taking back his statement, claiming that it now is more likely to be Mercedes than Red Bull. Despite this recent comment, Ricciardo himself could neither confirm nor deny these speculations, claiming that it's all rumors at this point. But we want to know what you think. Will Ricciardo be a reserve driver for Mercedes in the 2023 F1 season? Or will he be a reserve driver for his old team, Red Bull? Or will he simply be sitting out of the 2023 season altogether? In related Ricciardo news, Daniel laughs at a hypothetical F1 relocation in the face of an uncertain future. Daniel Ricciardo is weighing all of his options for 2023, but he's quite certain that an IndyCar racing career is not in the cards. The Australian F1 driver announced in August that he would be departing McLaren at the conclusion of the 2022 season, and following this, rumors about his future began running rampant. Now, he was obliged to accept the truth that he won't be on the F1 grid in 2023, after being replaced at McLaren by his fellow countryman Oscar Piastri. The 33-year contract was paid off since the team chose young Piastri ahead of the new season in place of Ricciardo, who has struggled for pace in the McLaren team for the past 2 seasons. The 8-time Grand Prix champion, however, sneered at the Frenchman's offer and emphatically disregarded the ovals of IndyCar, declaring that his heart belonged only to Formula One. "Ovals scare me," Ricciardo explained. He continued stating that his Formula One career and goals are still very active, so it will always come first. Now, there's only one available spot on the 2023 Haas grid, but Ricciardo has disqualified himself. Thus, he'll be taking a back seat in 2023. He has suggested a reserve driver position to offer himself the best possibility of a return in 2024, before the US Grand Prix. He responded to a question concerning his future by saying, "I'll be around, don't worry." Rumors that Ricciardo might replace Nick de Vries in the Mercedes reserve seat after the Dutchman took Pierre Gasly's spot at AlphaTauri have been further fueled by the Australian's ambition to race at the front of the grid in the 2024 season, and being a reserve driver may be the only way for him to guarantee himself a spot. But do you think he will be back in the 2023 season, even as a reserve driver? In other Formula One news, Sauber is set to become Audi Works' first F1 team in 2026. 2026. Audi and Sauber have agreed that starting in 2026, Audi will field a works team for the Swiss Formula One team. Exciting, right? When new standards with enhanced electrical power and 100% sustainable fuels are imposed in 4 years. The German firm said that they will join F1 as a power unit supplier. Audi said that Sauber, who are presently competing under the Alfa Romeo banner, will be their strategic partner for their F1 program, and that the automaker wants to buy a stake in the Sauber group before the Mexican Grand Prix takes place. While Sauber will develop and produce their race car at their headquarters in Hinwil, Switzerland, Audi will develop and manufacture their power unit at their facility in Newburgh, Germany, where more than 120 employees are already working on the project. The organization and management of the race operations will also fall under Sauber. Oliver Hoffmann, the Audi AG board member in charge of the F1 program, expressed his happiness at having found such a seasoned and capable partner for his ambitious Formula One project. He explained that from prior partnerships, we already know the Sauber Group with its cutting-edge infrastructure and experienced workforce are certain that together we will establish a powerful team. Furthermore, Ben Rousing, chairman of the board at Sauber, stated that Audi is the ideal strategic partner for the Sauber Group. He stated, "We can see that we have similar beliefs and aspirations, and we look forward to working together successfully to accomplish our shared objectives." Now, it'll be very interesting to see Audi join Formula One and also very exciting. They're a great and also powerful car brand that could do wonders within F1. And finally, some light, funny F1 news. The Apple CEO has been memed upon following his most recent appearance at the US Grand Prix. But what exactly happened? Let's take a look. Tim Cook, aka the CEO of Apple, has swiftly gained notoriety on social media for his lackluster performance at the recent Formula One US Grand Prix. At the Circuit of the Americas race, the multi-billionaire internet tycoon was given the privilege of raising the white flag. Now, Liberty Media frequently invites VIPs and famous people to wave the drivers across the finish line. Most people called up and given the honor are ecstatic and showed that excitement by waving the flag. But it appears Cook didn't get the memo. The CEO of Apple waved the red and white checkered flag with the same gusto as iPhone customers do when a new update is released. Cook didn't seem to be enjoying the moment that any Formula One fan would kill for. Instead, it appeared like just another day to the mega-rich CEO. Ted Kravitz of Sky Sports couldn't believe what he had seen from the multimillionaire. Now fans joined in as they ruthlessly memed on Cook, quickly making his name trend on social media. "Tim Cook needs to calm down," tweeted the ESPN F1 Twitter account. "Someone remind Tim Cook he's waving the checkered flag, not surrendering in a war," wrote Pablo Elizalde. Now in other news, what was perhaps the season's best race was unaffected by the Apple CEO's poor flag waving. Lewis Hamilton only lost first place in the closing laps, as Max Verstappen crossed the finish line ahead of him in the driver's standings to take home his 13th victory of the year, despite a disastrous pit stop by the Red Bull crew. But we want to know what you think. Were you surprised by Tim Cook's lack of excitement as he waved the flag at the most recent F1 race? Did his lackluster performance surprise you? Let us know. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Daniel Ricciardo and whether or not he'll be a reserve driver in the upcoming 2023 F1 season. Now, make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Do you think Ricciardo will return next year? Or will he take a year break and return in 2024? Let us know. And as always, thanks for watching.